All the way in the corner in the top.
There's some over there. Lisa's over there.
Santa Claus. Gentleman No Class is proud to be a part of the HC Universal Network. Gentleman No Class is produced, mixed, and edited by M5 Studios.
The fucking video is great.
This podcast contains explicit language and is intended for adult audiences.
The fucking video
the
he
views
got
and
of that
opinions of
Telecaster,
Gentlemen No Class are
you
strictly
thought, right?
for comedic
No.
purposes
Watch.
and should
Okay.
not be taken literally. For instance, like this disclaimer. Now grab yourself a pint and enjoy.
Oh, that's what
I gotta change my picture now, man. And welcome to another episode of Gentlemen No Class. I'm Jake.
I'm Rob.
Paul.
And like or not, ladies and gentlemen, we are the hosts for this episode.
Yeah, so did you like our new intro graphics?
Yeah, that's awesome. And
Our number one fan, Tim,
Yes, there
made
you
that
go.
for us.
just a request. Just a request, Tim. Thank you. That's awesome, man. I do appreciate the
But he doesn't like
effort.
it, apparently,
No,
because
no.
he's going to shoot it down.
No, the only thing I'm shooting down on that is that we're gonna have to update my fucking picture.
Yeah, so he took that.
I could see myself in that.
He took that he took that directly off our last episode's live stream.
Really?
Yeah, both of those are from, I think.
I could just tell that.
Damn.
Man, I need to start eating because I'm dropping weight from last episode. I guess
Maybe the one that of me he took. God, man, these
that's what you get. Try to be fancy with those in-ear
they give
monitors,
you like
huh?
a little. Well, I mean they fit correctly, but they don't fit always like
This is
perfect.
the analog. This is the digital. That's what
Whatever.
happens. 80s reign supreme still.
Whatever.
So what's up, man? It's been a little bit, especially
Yeah.
with this little addition here again.
Yeah, well.
Paul.
What do you mean little?
I didn't mean little. I meant new again because I'm fumbling my words. I'm sorry, Paul. I didn't mean that as a pun, you asshole.
I just think. Hold on. I just want to go back to this.
Yes.
I want to go back to. I want to go back to the intro because if you see this, like he put. It's a picture of Mini Boss and it says beer. It says Rob. It goes from Rob to Jake to beer, and then this, and it says also beer.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's hilarious.
I just think it's fucking funny.
That is funny.
Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah.
So apparently Jake wants you to update it to make sure that he's more. I don't know. What do you want? You want to be more?
I don't know. I'm just busting balls. I could care less. I mean, I don't care.
You obviously
But
care a little
No, well,
bit.
that was the first thing that stuck out. Like, let's rewind that a little bit. Can you rewind that a little bit or no? Fuck it. No, don't worry about it.
I mean, I can't. I think.
Nah. We're doing it live. So what's
Fuck
new?
it, we're doing it live.
It's been a while, man. Anything new happen in y'all's neck of the woods, y'all? Because we're from Texas.
No, I mean,
all?
I just been busy with work and shit.
What's new?
Yeah. What about you?
Same.
Oh, are we boring you, Paul?
No.
Yes,
It's
he's
been a
back,
long
baby.
day.
He is back. I binge watched some Cobra Kai season 4 or 5.
I have not watched any Cobra
did
Kai
I?
ever.
I forget. No,
No, I haven't
entertaining.
watched it ever.
you Paul?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
Yeah,
It's not the greatest.
It's cheap and cheesy and
Is it?
it's 80s fan service that they serve
Yeah.
you, right? And it's like, oh man, if you could write a script,
Well, I
and
think
what
I
you
would
want,
like it then. I mean,
you would.
I like the 80s.
I mean, it's corny as hell though, man. And like William Zabka, is that his name?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Billy Zabka.
Johnny Lawrence, his acting sucks,
Like,
and I think he
Well,
embraces
Ralph
it.
Macchio's act. Is Ralph
Ralph
Macchio
Ma-
just in the first season, or he?
No, he's all. I mean, it's all the way, man. They're bringing back old characters and everything, but I think William embraces his bad acting and the cheesy. I think so. I mean, it looks like it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the guy, but it's terrible acting. But I mean, it's a.
The only thing
Cheesy as hell.
that gets me about the show is just how William's character and Ralph's character both have kids
Yeah.
at the same time. They're both this same age.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're when they had them, like, damn, like they're late 40s. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't have kids at that age or anything like that. It's just
good,
I know
fair
it's just
point.
it's just something that kind of bothers me. Is like, man, what are the odds they have kids
That is a
at the
fair
same fucking
point.
You
time?
think
you know,
they're-
and that's just that's pushing for what it is already. I'm not saying it's a big deal, but it kind of irks me. It's like, man, what the it's just convenience, whatever.
It's convenient. I'll tell you what's
For
convenient.
the writing.
Megan texted me, can you put on Landon's nightlight? And, because I have, Alexa. on my
Control?
phone. Yeah. It's
Oh, so you were able to just go on your phone and do that?
Yeah.
So one thing is new. I did finally cut the Xfinity cord. So I
okay.
fired Xfinity the other day.
Did you?
Yeah. AT&T got fiber installed in the neighborhood finally.
Oh, so you jumped
So
on
I got that put in.
You said tell a difference?
I mean, it's fucking fast. Fast upload, fast
Yeah.
download.
Is it fiber direct to your house?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Interesting.
It's pretty slick, man. I mean,
Slick.
it's $80
Yeah.
for gigabit internet a
Nice.
month. I mean, it's.
So
can't
what do you
beat
do
that.
for TV? You just using your streaming services?
Dude, that's
Like,
all we were using anyway.
Anyways,
It's
I know,
just the
right?
streaming services.
What about-
I just
but-
had to program them all to the Apple TVs.
What are you going to do when October comes and we got playoff baseball, man?
Playoff baseball is not on AT&T Sportsnet. That is
What,
typically
it'd be
on
Fox.
Yeah.
Do you have local?
Yeah, I got a
guess you
fucking
do.
HD
Yeah, I guess
antenna,
you're right.
bro.
Yeah. The first round will be on
AT&T Sportsnet,
TNT and TBS and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I don't like. I don't like the fact that like if you want to watch the Astros, so I can watch them as long as I'm not in market, right? So like when I'm on the road, I can watch them,
Yep.
but I can't watch them while I'm here. But I very rarely watch Astros games here anyway. Like I usually watch them at the lake.
Go
You
to
have
the
to buy
bar.
that.
Oh, the lake.
What is that? Fubo TV.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Fubo TV is
something
the
like that,
streaming
yeah.
service that you have to buy to get AT&T Sportsnet, and it's
not,
it's $80.
IPTV.
No. AT&T Sportsnet has an exclusive with Fubo, so Fubo is like it's all your local
Sports,
channels and everything,
yeah.
but it is like $70, $70 or $80 a month,
Well, that's fucking crazy.
right?
That's fucking insane.
I know.
I know a guy.
That's
that
how
knows a
much.
guy.
That's how much I was paying on top of what I'm paying now for cable.
Well, I mean, like I said, I know a guy that's can get you a little something. You know what I mean? I thought you were
Okay.
giving me that,
No,
so
I wasn't.
Okay.
I know a guy that knows a
Just
guy
telling
that
you, man.
robs people.
yeah, that robs people exactly.
I've heard of websites that
No,
allow.
this is an Apple TV converted, so you're gonna actually get a box.
Oh, this is hardware we're
It's
talking
some
about.
hardware, but I mean that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't. I,
We're
I
not
don't own
advertising
one.
that?
I don't own one. I heard of one. I heard of it. So whatever.
Oh, my boy Chris is watching. What's up, Chris?
Gavin.
No, Chris. Chris Watson. I actually, I was over at the tattoo shop last night hanging out, and one of Chris and I's friends is apprenticing there, and he's been working on this tattoo, and I let him tattoo it on me last night. I had him tattoo it on me last night, and when we got done, I looked at it and I was like, this thing kind of reminds me of Watson. It kind of reminds me of you, Chris. I'll have to try to post a picture of it later. It's like a bulldog with a scally cap and chewing on a battery.
Oh,
That reminds you of your
And
friend?
yeah, well, Chris always wears scally caps.
Oh,
So scally cap.
I
It
thought
kinda-
looked
it
like
kinda
a
looks
double
like him.
bulldog.
And what is a scally cap? I like
Well, you can see like that's. A
Oh, that's what I
scally
was
cap.
thinking.
Yeah,
Freaking Uncle Paulie from Rocky.
yeah. Oh, Corey's watching too. So, well, okay, see, look, I can't.
Taylor?
No, Corey. Yeah, Corey Taylor from
Yes.
Slipknot's watching. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I can't watch the comments all day. Sorry, guys. Corey, you can tell your wife happy birthday. I know it's her birthday today. I just saw that pop up on
happy
Facebook.
birthday. I
earlier,
don't even
so.
know you, but it's okay. It's just, I like to be positive and nice to everybody.
So, have you been watching Lord of the Rings of Power?
I have no business
Paul
watching
has.
that shit.
Paul has,
no
because
business
we just watched like literally right before you got here. We finished watching this week's episode.
Oh, okay.
And-
so they didn't drop everything at once. It's like
No,
a
it's
weekly basis.
it's every week. Yeah.
Okay.
I think they said that they're doing like 5. I want to say that they're doing 5 seasons, and they have every season already mapped out because they have it's a set time limit, right? So like once the events start, they can only go through the second age, and the second age ends with the War of the Ring, which is where Sauron is destroyed the first time that they show the flashbacks of at the beginning of Lord of the Rings?
Sure.
Okay.
I know. I'm sure. I believe you.
This is ultra nerdy shit.
Ooh, there's that word again. Like it's a cool thing to be a nerd.
I'm just
Whatever.
telling
That's
you
my
it's-
beef.
Whatever.
I'm leaving it at that.
You drink your Starbucks and be cool over there.
Hell yeah, it's down the street from my house. It's better than your damn Topo or whatever.
You know what I did buy? You know what I got the other day? Is I got tickets. Did I tell you this? The Ancient Aliens Live.
When is that? Yes.
Like January 10th in Phoenix, Arizona.
Nice.
It's going to be
A
sick.
little jealous.
Yeah, I'm going to try to turn it into a work trip so that work pays for it so that I don't have to. But I already bought the ticket,
I hope they don't hear this.
right?
Who cares, right? You run that shit.
I go there often enough. I'm going there Monday. So,
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's I can probably like turn it into a
Yeah.
work trip. I can make it.
Why not?
I can figure it out. There's usually something to do there that needs work, anyway. But we were talking about
The top 10% or 3%ers do it. Why don't you? I know.
we were talking. Have you been what TV shows have you been watching?
Just Cobra Kai.
That's it.
And I'm rewatching Sopranos.
Because it sucks and you just want to feel better about yourself.
I'm at the part where Vito gets caught blowing his coworker. That's freaking. He like
Wait a second.
He's like
What?
say Vito. Say how you doing, Vito? Come on, just say it. He like how you doing, Vito? I'm doing fine, or whatever the fuck he says. But no, you know Vito? No, no, he never gotten that far.
No, he was supposed to like come in and like kill somebody when they were running or something.
That was a different character.
But you know
I
that
think he
scene?
played.
You know that scene where Christopher Moltisanti goes to the bakery and it's like, and he shoots the clerk because he got this one guy ahead of him, and like, man, he went to go pump gas. That's Vito. But he was just an addition right there. He wasn't really the boss or captain yet.
Yeah.
he was just there, and so that's the guy that he gets caught blowing. The guy.
And they're just cool with it.
No, they're not. In fact, he
Hell
goes
no.
later on in the season. He goes out in hiding, and he gets in a relationship with a firefighter. And spoiler alert,
Is he blowing that guy too?
yes, he's doing more than
Yeah,
that.
Johnny Cakes.
Johnny Cakes. There you
Yeah.
go. But
Johnny
no,
Cakes.
they end up
I don't
finding him
want
and killing him.
I don't want
It's great, man. The whole series is
It's like
great.
it's. I mean, it's okay. It's not great. I mean, it wasn't to me. I mean, I guess it's to each his own, right?
Wait, what channel?
That button's broken.
Oh,
I
is it?
purposely
Okay.
broke that one, so you can't mute me, but I can
Purposely.
mute you.
Got you.
So that's it. You haven't been watching She-Hulk or anything like that.
No. Ever since you said something about the CGI.
The CGI is not great on She-Hulk,
but what
but
am
I
I
do
watching?
like it anyway.
I'm not really watching jack shit, to be honest with you. No.
All right. Well, that's fair enough.
So as far as that Lord of the Rings stuff, I mean, it caught a lot of flack in the social medias. Are
for
you
that-
on that wagon or no?
The woke wagon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on with it, but
I mean, they're just so the beef is like, all right. So Tolkien wrote the characters a specific way, right? So like the dwarves were supposed to be. If you read it like the gods that made like all right, so the Valar make the elves and the dwarves, and one of the Valar is making the elves, and he's taking his time and he's crafting them or whatever, and one of the other Valar is like, oh, I want to make something too, and then he makes the dwarves, but he doesn't like take very long. He just throws them at Middle Earth, and he's like, dude, you didn't even clear this with the god basically. And you know what I mean, and like they're kind of like half baked. That's why they're short. And they're green
half baked.
Like seriously, because that's how they cook them. I mean, they're gods.
baked,
you know what I mean?
Okay, I got you.
So anyway, Tolkien goes into great detail about like the races of dwarves and elves and like why the elves are all fair skinned and why the dwarves are this. He just builds this whole world of characterization through the but in the defense of like the casting directors and stuff like that, I mean, does it really affect the story that much to have, a black actor play what is essentially supposed to be a what was written as a white role.
That's what.
Not really. I mean, like you look past it. Like if you're not an asshole, I mean, my beef with it has nothing to do with the race casting of it. It has to do with the way that they're rewriting the way that Tolkien wrote those races. So like he wrote the dwarves as like not being like dwarf women being indistinguishable from dwarf men because they had such thick, long beards also.
Women do?
Yeah. Oh. They have not done that in this series. Like dwarf women are fair skinned. Oh, okay. You know, they don't have beards, you know, but
they're naturalists.
That's the kind of shit that like that's pissing me off about it because
not like, true to the content, the story, huh? Or the books, whatever.
But that's stuff that's important. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like having a black elf, does it really matter? No, not really. But like what does matter is like you're changing the dynamic of how the outside races see the dwarves because that's one of the things that like they talk about in the other movies even. And they're also like the timeline seems way off. I was telling Paul before you got here, like the events that are happening are supposed to be thousands of years before the Lord of the Rings starts. Even the show says this is set thousands of years before, but like the characters that are alive in this are not really like, I mean, they would have to be like super old by the time like that. They would have to be 1,000 years old by the time like the Lord of the Ring, like during the War of the Ring. So like if you've ever seen the Lord of the Rings, like it has this whole prologue where Galadriel kind of talks about like what happened with the War of the Ring, right? So like Sauron forges the rings.
There's one. Look at me with those names,
she's an elf. If you've seen them, you know who she is. So anyway, that's all. It explains about him crafting the One Ring, right? And then there's this last alliance of men and elves that go to fight the War of the Ring for Sauron. So in the final moments of the battle, the king is killed. Isildur, his son, picks up his sword. Sauron steps on the sword and crushes the sword, and in that moment Isildur takes the sword, the broken shard of hilt, and cuts the ring from Sauron's finger. Okay. And because Sauron's life force is tied to the ring, it destroys his mortal body. Like he's destroyed. Isildur picks up the ring, and that's the one chance that they have to finally rid Middle-earth of this evil. He can go destroy it in the volcano where it was formed, but it corrupts him and he keeps it. So that happens. That's the end of the Second Age of Middle-earth. So the Amazon only has the rights to the events of the Second Age. They can't go anywhere else. Oh, really? So they because all the events of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit take place in the Third Age. Okay. So the ring, like once that war is over, it's like, I don't know, 20 or 50 years, I forget. Like Isildur has the ring and he's super being corrupted. He's, you know, it's an evil entity basically that he's carrying with him. He's killed, the ring gets lost, and then it's 2,500 years before Gollum finds it, and then it's another 500 years that he has it before the events of the Hobbit start and Bilbo finds the ring and takes it from him. So, I mean, that's 3,000 years right there, and then this is supposed to be 1,500 years, at least 1,500 to 2,000 years before that. But I mean, that means that like the king and his son would have to be, at the time of that battle, they'd have to be like 1,000 years old.
Interesting.
If you go by the timeline that the books are written. So I don't know. It's just,
well, you know, I mean, the whole woke thing, that's crazy. So it all has to do with the casting that people in social media is just a bunch of jagoffs, don't you think? Like all these people behind the keyboards, it's just like you're making something that's not really an issue.
Yeah, I mean, you know? it's I mean,
like what, you know, people posting stuff like Mel Gibson's going to be Martin Luther King because of the Little Mermaid thing. I'm like, what the hell? Like, how old are we? Like, what's going on here?
It's honestly, it's a bunch of like when you do it to a white person, like it's a bunch of people a bunch of white people are getting pissed off about it. When you do it to a black person, historically black characters that you whitewash them, I mean, nobody says anything about it. But I mean, honestly, like, they're fictional fucking characters. Yeah. It doesn't fucking matter.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, people are mad about them casting a black girl as Ariel. She's a fucking mermaid. They don't exist. Like, who cares? Move the fuck on with your life. You know what I mean? Mel Gibson's not playing fucking Martin Luther King Jr. You know what I mean? When you're talking about portraying a real life person, yeah, you want that person to be as close to, as you can possibly get. You know what I mean? Like, but you're talking about fictional fucking characters. You know what I mean? It doesn't fucking matter.
Exactly.
You're not doing somebody a disservice by not, casting a white actor to play a white role. You're not casting, you're not casting Will Smith to play Richard Nixon or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, if it doesn't matter.
Sam Rockwell in Ali.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, it
interesting.
It doesn't fucking matter if what you do. You know what I mean? Like that but when you do it just for the sake of doing it, that's what people have problems with. When you're like you know what I mean? Like, where you do it where it's almost like you're doing it just to be controversial, just to be like, hey, we're woke and we can cast people like. That's what I think people are getting up in arms about. But I mean, I don't think that's what's going on.
What were you going to say, Paul?
I was just saying, an interesting actor who plays, like Rob was saying, have somebody that's close to them, resembling the character, I guess, race-wise. Cliff Curtis.
Oh,
he played Smiley, and he played Pablo Escobar as a Kiwi.
Yeah,
but he looks.
Well,
he's fucking very convincing.
He's on the line right there, man. He can play
it's
both
like,
parts.
but it's completely opposite of the world. Like
the Christian Bale being
like
in Harsh Times, baby.
Yeah, like that. Because and it's funny that character in particular. I met guys like that, that are white, but they kind of have like muddy, like Hispanic accent, or just it's part of their environment, It's the way it is. It's just, but yeah, that's a good fucking movie.
Have any of y'all seen House of the Dragon?
Oh yeah, I've been watching it.
Yeah, you, Paul?
I never got into Game of Thrones. Yeah, I was gonna say Lord of the Rings. Yeah, Game of Thrones. Man, I got confused.
That's. I mean, I was skeptical at first, but it's got me hooked a little bit, man. Those Targaryens it's in their blood, man. Have you seen the most recent episode?
Yeah, last Sunday.
Yeah. Okay. So you're all caught up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this Sunday is the last episode where we see young Rhaenyra. And then next week, not this Sunday, next week, but next week there'll be a big 10-year time jump, and you'll get to
who
see
she's
the older,
married to.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Yeah. So.
I mean, it's not like any of the events of this show are groundbreaking. They're all based on Fire and Blood.
Yeah, I mean, you already know what's going on if you read that. But still, it's still good to see it unfold, and in the show. And what George said that he wants to create.
Martin.
Yeah, he wants to convert this into the new the Marvel DC world.
Thank you.
Where, honestly, he can do that because he has
He needs to finish a fucking book first.
Yeah, I guess you're right, man. I guess you're right. He should, but it's already done. They already made season 7. I mean, what are you going to do? Rewrite season 7?
Season 8 was the shitty one.
Oh, was it? Yeah, okay, season 8. Yeah, whatever. The most recent Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Latest Game of Thrones. What are you going to do? Are you going to, redo it again? No, it's already done.
No.
See, my thing is with that.
Here we go, Paul. Shit on it.
No, it's just how I feel. I don't really like it. I guess maybe the scenes are maybe a little too graphic for that fantasy genre of fantasy. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I just.
You don't like
in fantasy, like how Lord of the Rings, it can't, things are pretty dark. There's subjects that are, can be violent, but the way they do it, it's enough to where
right.
it's without you don't need to be all gory.
Why did I know you lived
during
that time? Can you reference exactly what you're going
with?
What
time are you talking about?
I'm just saying,
No, I'm talking.
just buzzing his balls.
No,
what time are you talking? It's a fucking
it's fantasy,
fictional world.
Fantasy land.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
What? Now you're confusing me.
What else is new?
I get what you're good.
I was just saying the how they, and the way Game of Thrones does it. It wasn't for me. Like
just imagine if they did that to Lord of the Rings, man. It would be so much better.
Right?
Okay,
Full penetration, fucking Sunny style. Dolph Lundgren.
You know, come on, just think about it. All right, man. But
why is the camera all zoomed in like that?
God damn, man.
That's great.
That's an old Sonny reference.
Oh yeah. Early seasons, yeah. Yeah, fucking good shit. They're still going strong, like 18 seasons.
Is it strong? Or they're still going?
They're still going very. Yeah, they
nice.
have a pretty big fan base.
Yeah, nice. That's
I
cool.
listen
But
to their podcast.
But is it any good?
Yeah, it's not bad. I think they do a pretty good job reflecting of what's going on, like what South Park does.
Okay, well,
like they do
current events
the way
shit?
how they do it. I like. They like to play neutral in the middle. Like they make fun of both sides of like every angle. So they're making fun of the people. Hence, like you guys are talking about the woke and all the people up in arms and being so sensitive and not realizing they are sensitive when they're calling others sensitive. It's like you're just as bad. You just don't realize it. But they make fun of a lot of stuff and especially a lot of political stuff. Especially the January 6th thing. The way they did it was fucking great. I don't want to ruin it, but it's fucking good. I'm a huge fan. I still watch it. I love those guys, man. They're really, I admire them as writers, as comedy writers, actors too.
Yeah,
they really, and listening to the podcast too. It's like they go over from the very, they started the very first episode to they want to keep doing all of them, and it's pretty good. Like listening to the some of the trivia and like what they did, but they really give insight in who they are as actors too, and just how they view things and why they decided on things, and I don't know. It's pretty interesting to me. Like if you really want to, like they always been good about like encouraging others to write their own TV show. And like how they, pretty much how they got their start in FX. They won that contest. It didn't take them much. They just had like a very minimal budget, shitty camera. They did what they could. They sent it to FX and they liked it.
Nice.
So, it doesn't really take much.
Yeah, no. Just to drive.
Yeah. So I find them interesting either way. Like I like them. Yeah, they're fucking hilarious, man. Their sense of humor is so close, resonates with me a lot. That's why I love it, man.
Yeah, I'm sure it resonates with you a lot. When we've discussed this before on this podcast about how we met. Because y'all knew each other in high school, right?
Yeah.
Like
middle school, actually.
Middle school,
yeah.
and Will too, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
Damn. Poor Will.
I came into it because y'all were looking for a bass player, and I think I found y'all on.
Maybe HoustonBands.net.
That's what.
That's what it
was.
has to be.
HoustonBands.net. And so I remember the first time that the second time that I went to audition for your band. Remember, and I at Rhythm Room because we had played together before.
Right.
And then I didn't know who it was, but like the second time I went to because we had hung out for a bit, and then a couple of years went by, we didn't talk or whatever.
Yeah.
And we weren't really friends. I mean, during that part, you know what I mean? But like, I came to y'all were looking for a bass player, and like we had.
Wait, we're friends now.
Jesus, y'all are friends. But I remember going and like. Knocking on the door of the Rhythm Room, and like there was Danny DeVito faces everywhere, and I was like, I don't get it.
Some things just never change.
Oh my god, man!
I remember asking Paul about it, and he was so dismissive about it. He was just like, "Yeah, it's fucking Danny DeVito," and just kept going. Like it was, they were everywhere,
and it was Danny DeVito's face from the DVD.
That's
like in the black and white face
from It's Always Sunny. Yeah,
from It's Always Sunny.
You print them out, right?
Yeah, I print them all out. Yeah, I print them all out, and then I just posted everywhere in the studio.
I didn't get it. I had never watched it. I mean, they were fucking everywhere. There had to have been 40 of them in that fucking room.
Yeah. It was faces and cocks all over there.
Yeah, faces and cocks everywhere.
Hand drawn for sure.
Yeah, it wasn't actual like pictures. It was just,
there were cocks.
Very cartoony.
Yeah, very cartoony and veiny. But no, those were the days, huh? That's what's missing in this room.
What, cocks?
Yeah. And some Danny DeVito.
Bring that back, and Danny.
Speaking of studios,
oh man,
you could get a Danny DeVito.
It really
face
ties
up in
the
here
room
somewhere.
together, man. I'm telling you.
You could throw a Danny DeVito face up in here somewhere. I'd be okay with that.
You know, it's gonna be like I
Put it
Spy.
right
Like
there
we're
in
just
the
gonna
middle
do
on the
it.
logo.
Like where's
you
the
don't even
fucking
know.
guys?
And we're just constantly like looking at it, side eyeing it, just so you can catch on to it. And oh damn, like years down the line, like that's where they put it at.
Those motherfuckers. Man.
God damn.
We were talking about like what we were going to do the topic of this episode on, and Paul wanted to come on because I think he has a lot of opinions about specifically like mental health things, and
I really need to
go piss. I'm just introducing the topic. You don't.
Yeah.
So, for all our casual viewers, I really wanted to talk about what a lot of people are seeing as a suicide epidemic in this country right now. So, there's been a lot of like CEOs like killing themselves.
Was there more than one recently?
Yeah. So, I mean, one that made the news,
No, make
right?
the news. Okay. Yeah.
But there was one of the like the Houston Texans guy, whatever, a couple months ago, killed himself. Yeah. I should have written down names.
I never heard that.
And that was one of my dad's friends. So the reason this came up was I was hanging out with my dad, and he was talking about another one of his friends, or another guy he knew that was his age or a little older, committed suicide. And there's been a lot of things in the news and things, and I started Googling and looking for like evidence of this and stuff like that, but. He had brought up that he thought that like this latest generation of kids, Gen Z kids, and early millennials,
or late millennials,
that has a high rate of suicide amongst them also. And I don't know that I necessarily believe that. And I will say this, that I did look for statistics on this, but it's too like they haven't. All those statistics are typically 2 years behind. You know what I mean? Like you can find statistics for 2020. You can find a little bit of stuff from early 2021, but like you're not going to find stuff in the last 12 to 18 months really. So like, and that's what I really was kind of focusing on, was the high rate of suicide in men specifically, men over the age of 40 or 35 and up. And then, men and women, millennial kids, I say kids, they're not millennial kids, Gen Z or whatever you want to call them, that are, 18 and younger, 19 and younger. And this is anecdotal evidence at best, but I usually, when I bring this up, somebody has some kind of anecdote about like, oh yeah, like my buddy was like, 15 and he fucking hung himself, so like one of my dad's one of our family's friends that we're friends with the whole family, like his younger son, I mean, he went to college, he made it through he went through the whole semester, like everything seemed fine, and like he didn't come home for the break, or I forget what the exact story was, but they found he hung himself in his closet in his dorm room.
Damn.
You know what I mean? Like, and he has his whole life ahead of him. And there's nothing that could possibly have happened that could have, I mean, I guess like I can see, I've been there before where like you don't see a way out, but I mean, is that something, I just wanted to talk about, like, I feel like that's like a cultural thing that is indicative of like specifically like the Bed Bath & Beyond CEO. Like, I think that I think that we saw a lot of this as like at and right before Black Friday hit. You remember
1987?
No, I'm talking about like
the stock market?
The original Black Friday before the Great Depression.
Oh, before the Great Depression.
Yeah, Black Friday or Black Thursday or whatever it was, when the stock market bottomed out and all the CEOs and stuff were killing themselves.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm wondering if that has, like, if suicide rates are indicative of an upcoming recession.
Oh, that's interesting.
Kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, what would be causing an uptick in young Gen Z and older, early baby or late baby boomer suicides? But at the same time, like, is it something, you know, social media driven? Like, it's an interesting conversation to have. You know what I mean? Like, what would be driving those rates? Because one of the things that I've noticed, and this is anecdotal at best, so don't blow me up. Like, this is just something I've noticed on just hearsay stories and just kind of people that I know that I'm talking to. But it seems like the younger generation of kids, 18 to 25, like there's just no drive or want to work at all. Like they don't, like they get jobs and they're just like, I don't want, and good on them for not letting a job abuse them and not like, and like things that we would just go through, you know, like we used to go to work and they'd just be like, this is your fucking job, just go do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But, you know, there's a lot of kids that are just like, they're just like, I don't need this fucking job, and they leave. You know what I mean? And it's maybe it's because of the internet that shit like that becomes more prevalent, and, you know, kids say like, oh, you know, you're right. You know, I should fucking do that too. I fucking hate my job, and they leave that job. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of
there's the topic. Let's discuss.
Well, there's a lot of stories that are on social media that promotes that type of behavior when it comes to employment. Like the job's not supposed to do this, and you're not supposed to take shit from them. They can leave 2 weeks notice. It's for the job. It's not for you. It's just something that was made up a long time ago to give them a room to find somebody. And people are looking at that, and it's like, you're right. Fuck this job. I'm out. Which, by all means, it is what it is. But they're seeing that stuff on social media, and it's becoming their nature, they're and part of their behavior, to where like, I don't need to give it 2 weeks notice, and that's just the bare minimum. 2 weeks. I'm just as an example. But us, I mean, honestly, I mean, as workers, we go in there as a mindset to go to work. We leave and do our family stuff, our home business, whatever. But I don't think it ever crosses my mind, at least, to not at least give them some sort of ample notice, you know. But it seemed like this type of generation, just no fucks are given, which it is what it is. And
I mean, you manage retail. I mean, have you seen that personally?
All the time, and it is what it is. That comes with you know.
Do you see that on resumes as people are coming in, like real long work histories? They worked at a place for like 2 weeks.
I see resumes. I see resumes with like one sentence resumes, man, and like, what's going on here? And then I see like thorough resumes, detailed resumes, and I bring them in. And they only give me the detailed resumes. Only give me a week, 2 weeks of work, and then the one sentence resume. Well, I really ever bring the one sentence resumes, to be real. But it's just. But you know, unless I'm really hurting, man. Like, come on, man. I don't care if you know, someone from the streets. Just I need a body in.
I'm from the streets.
You know what I mean? But
streets.
It varies, man. But I definitely do see a lack of commitment from the younger generation. But then again, there's some, I mean, I can't put them all under one umbrella. There's some that are really hard workers, man. But more so than not, it's like, I'm done, you know, after like, they give me like 3 months time and that's it. So,
Paul, what do you see like in your career field, like on the job and stuff like that? Because you work a lot of like, well, you don't have to tell who you work for, whatever, but kind of like what you do and like kind of
Chippendales.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, like what do you see and as far as like your perspective on that?
Oh, I mean, I mainly work. The environment's usually constructions. Sometime it's new build outs or existing places, but it's for installs for voice and data. I don't know, a lot of what you guys are saying. A lot of influence, like you're saying, Jake, I'm pretty sure, it's coming from social media. And
not necessarily social media, just whatever they, you know, something that's on a computer or electronic screen.
Something,
you know what I mean?
Well, something's guiding them, you know, and
exactly.
like for that matter. And, you know, makes you want to question too, like, I don't know, like what their parents like, I don't know, like the up and quit like that for a job. And depending on the relationship what you have with your employer, I would, you know, like at least give them some notice, because like they weren't that bad, but I don't like it here either way. But it's not their fault. I'm not fitting in. I'm just gonna go do my thing. But at least I can do is at least give them a notice. But I don't know, man. I'm trying to sit here and think about a lot of influence where a lot of this is coming from, and like you said, Rob, I think it is good that they are kind of just also saying like, yeah, you know, you don't have to work here, put up with this shit, and you know, fine. A lot of companies are desperate out there to find work. I mean, or find employees because.
But that's not a good. Me personally, I don't think that's a good. And I'm not because I'm in management, right? I'm just saying in general. Because I want employees to be with the company, right? No, it has nothing to do with that. I'm just saying that that's not a good characteristic to have because that just tells you in life in general when shit gets hard, I don't want to be a part of it. I'm walking away.
So there you go. Like that right there is what leads me. That's the lead in to the suicide rate because I feel like that attitude of this is hard. I don't want to do it anymore. That attitude goes not only at work but their life in general. And they're just like, life's hard. I don't want to do it anymore. And it's just like, okay, like that's it. You know what I mean? No, because maybe it's because like there's no real consequences for anybody for anything like that anymore. I don't know. Like I mean, I'm really interested to see like how this fleshes out. Like once we get suicide statistics for the last 18 months, 2 years, you know, and honestly, like where it's going forward, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much worse this is going to get, but that attitude that like you just described where like shit's hard, like I just want to give up. Like, I don't know, like to me, like when I was a kid, like I was going, you know, I struggled through some stuff like that. And somebody I knew committed suicide when we were in high school. And my dad, you know, my dad was like, okay, I don't know. I was like 16, 17. So my dad was like younger than I am now and had a 16 or 17-year-old. I mean, that has to be tough, especially I was an asshole. And I mean,
come on, man.
I didn't say I changed. I just said I was an asshole then. I mean, I didn't get worse or better. Anyway, but I mean, he told me, you know, like suicide is suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem because every problem is temporary in life.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Fair point.
And that's just, I don't know. That's, I think that like the you know, this younger generation, I feel like they, okay, and let me restate that. From my perspective, it seems like they don't have any hope for like where the world is going. So like, why stick around to figure out that it's just going to fail? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it's like they're lacking purpose.
Yeah.
When
like why
purpose,
go to a job? Like you see this a lot, like especially after COVID, like, you know, a lot of places are struggling to get people back in to actually even come into work because they're like, you know, fuck it, I bought a van and I live in this van and I just tour around and go to the national parks and shit. I don't really need that much money for anything, you know what I mean? Until you get hurt or sick, you know. But then they go to free hospitals and clinics. You know, there's a way to get around. And they're just like, I'm going to live my life and, you know, do the best I can while I can kind of thing. And, you know, good on them. And, you know, maybe it's shame on us for not doing that, you know what I mean? And living the life that we were given to the fullest, you know what I mean? And just working the 8 to 5 and not, you know, seeing the world and, you know, experiencing life and being a slave to the grind. Although, you know, whatever your perspective on it is, you know, like personally for me, I find my job very fulfilling and I really enjoy going to work. But I know that I'm like in the bottom 1% of people in the world that actually like enjoy what they do and enjoy their job.
Well, see, like when you just said like, you know, working the 8 to 5, I'm okay with that. Like it is what it is. I mean, that's to me. I look at that. That's a part of life, and that's a part of my life. Not saying it's a part of.
But that's the way you were raised, though.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like it's, and that's the funny thing is like, I feel like a lot of these kids that do this are super entitled. You know what I mean? Like they were given everything, and then now they're just like, well, you know what I mean?
I think. When Paul
sucks being conditioned that way too, and not realizing that. That's terrible.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. What I'm saying is like you said something about the environment. I think everything that you do in life, a good portion of it, you do it subconsciously. I don't think you're aware that you're doing that until you actually step back from your daily routines, your daily life, and like, oh shit, I am doing it because it's like second nature. It's like you get up at a certain time, you go to work, you come home, you don't even think about it. and you're just doing it every day, right?
It's like being on autopilot.
Exactly.
Almost.
But I mean, I'm just saying, like, not just that aspect in life. I'm just talking about like being by yourself or being with the family or going out and doing. It's all subconsciously. Like if it wasn't for your environment on what you're doing in life, maybe not necessarily when you're a kid, because when I was a kid, I raised up a lot different than where I'm living at right now. Okay, but it's just because of my environment, I feel like that's the reason why I'm at where I'm at, right?
Yeah.
If I didn't have my family, I would totally be somewhere else. I know I would. I mean, and I just think that people are a product of their own environment. And
yeah, that's true.
And that's, I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with all these distractions, and we're losing our sense of self, a lot of it. Mm-hmm. And like you're saying,
can you dive deeper on that? What do you mean by losing our sense of self?
I feel like there's so much distractions in our daily lives, especially the smartphone. Like, I'm not knocking it. Mm-hmm. I think in a neutral point of view, like whatever, it's just the way it is, just how I perceive things, and just I see that stuff like that, and TV and film, all that stuff. I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of it is, we're all like, a lot of people are more distracted to where, like, do you have time for yourself? Like, maybe like 20, 30 minutes a day where you just sit here and think in silence, free from distraction. Your mind won't be distracted, so you can actually sit there and think for yourselves. Most people don't, and they don't realize it, and it's not their fault. Like, as I'm saying, like, there's so many distractions and so many things to distract us.
But what distracts them may not necessarily distract you.
Yeah.
It's like the fact that you find that awareness and you're making time out of your day or whatever, that'll benefit you. And that's because you're doing it, I guess, in a way subconsciously maybe. The people that are like, I don't find that time in their day because they don't think about that. They're doing that subconsciously. They're just like, this is me just being on my phone. It could be good, it could be bad, but I mean, it depends, I guess. Oh shit.
Yeah. I think it's really healthy to definitely just take a moment, just be away from it all.
Yeah, I could see the healthiness.
It really is, like, because it gives your mind and your energy inside to catch up. It's just it's a cycle.
It's that
like
vitamin
just going
D that
through,
you need outside.
Yeah, just being around nature. That's one thing, but I just feel like it's not everybody. I know there's other people that are aware of it. Like I said, those things I mentioned, like, it's not necessarily bad. Mm-hmm. It's cool. It's good. It's awesome to have. All these things. Mm-hmm. It's just the balance is more on the distraction side versus like taking time to actually for yourself or servicing yourself too, let alone that.
Absolutely.
Taking care of meeting your needs and do the things and identifying what your needs are and knowing your boundaries and all this stuff. And, when some is lacking all of those things I say, like, it's hard for them to, it'd be easy for one to be depressed and filled with anxiety too. Mm-hmm. Nowhere to process what you absorb daily. Whatever it takes, we all have to figure out how we operate and what works best for us, and what doesn't work for us is just as equal, and all that stuff. I think it's just a huge part as far as like, I would say the suicide part, but a lot of anxiety going on too.
Yeah. So one of the things that like I suspect, and this is just a speculation, is a lot of like, because of social media and like Instagram influencers and shit like that, it's a lot of like, oh my God, look at these people, they're living this life, and like I want to do that. I want to be a TikTok star. I want to be I want to be viral. I want to be famous. Or like, oh my God, I'm trying my hardest and I'm not anywhere near this. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, I'll just give up. Like, I can't live I don't want to live a normal life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what does that mean if that keeps going? Like, what does that mean for our, for the world in general? So, like, if you talk about, like, the world population, and this is interesting because Elon said something about this the other day in the media, and I was curious about it. So I went and looked up global statistics of it because I'd always thought that, like, the global population was a problem. You know what I mean? Like, constantly getting more and more and more. And it is globally, but like, as far as like the United States goes and like developed countries, we're almost at a precipice where the amount of people that are dying, we're not making new people to replace them. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like our birth rate is not matching our death rate. So our population is declining actually. So like, because he was, that's why he was saying, I'm doing what I can to put babies in the world.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, he said that.
Yeah. Because I mean, he's putting babies in anybody that'll take them.
Nice.
That's hilarious.
Somebody's got to do it, right?
Hey, man, good on him. But anyway, so I mean, it's just interesting to me. Like, where does the world go? Right, as people like, and I compare my dad because I feel like he's like at the age, he's almost in retirement age. So like when people in his generation start to retire, right, and people in my generation, our generation, start moving into those roles and those, to fill those, whatever you call them, whatever those gaps are, you know what I mean? Like into those higher up positions, it doesn't seem like, same thing with birth and death rates, right? It doesn't seem like we're bringing up that younger generation to have the same work ethic. So like, are you just driving out capitalism? You're just driving out the system of government and society that we have now to be like whatever. I mean, and that's totally dictated on the society that you're bringing people up in, right? You know what I mean?
Well, if we go full on automation, then it's our fault. It's us as workers.
People have no work and
no, I mean it's because you can't find good work.
That's what I'm saying. Well, you need to balance that somehow. Like just when it comes to stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I think there's something I was gonna bring up what you're saying, Rob. I was gonna bring a point up. God damn it, man.
Boom, 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 boom.
Let me find it.
It's all right. It's all right.
All right, let's hear it. Damn it! What was I gonna say?
Oh, there it is.
Automation.
No, but that's not it.
that's the happy version.
That's the happy version.
Yeah, we need that depressed version.
Where is it? Oh, this one. Yeah.
Oh man,
that one.
Yeah,
this one too.
Fucking 20 grand.
What the fuck,
You lose.
Yeah, there you go.
Good day.
I mean,
You.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, he's just gonna palm this shit.
Yeah.
I always forget about this.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
Fucking. Yeah, I don't know. He just
Fucking adorable.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think other reasons why in general, like
Why
what's
you should-
happening, all
okay.
this stuff. It's funny. Older generations say things about the younger generations. Like they're this or that. Weak, blah blah blah. It's like, well, you got to understand, you and your generation are part of bringing what's going on.
Well, I mean,
like I don't mean it in a mean way.
Right,
I'm just saying, like it's.
Well, everybody
the
feels
reason,
like their generation is the best.
Yeah, well, like I'm just saying, like each generation is trying to do better and help.
Are they?
That's okay. We don't know that.
Look at technology and where we at for that alone.
No.
Convenience. That has convenienced our lives so much to where it's like you kind of forget about certain things. Like, how did I used to do that? But like that's just one aspect, though. I'm not saying I'm
gonna respectfully disagree with you on that.
Damn, Lumberg, what are you?
Hold on. Well,
disagree with you there.
Let me interject a small point. I feel like I know where you're going. Like every generation, like everything is increasing and getting better, but I don't think that they're doing it for the reasons that you know what I mean? They're not doing it for the betterment of society.
There's a takeaway from it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, they're doing it for the money.
Yeah,
you know
what's
what I mean?
received is also being taken away from that, and what's being taken away needs to be countered and balanced. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where the problem is. But don't ask me because I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Rob,
this is an opinion-based show. I don't know if you've caught on.
Yeah.
It's 109 episodes. This is totally opinion-based.
Yeah. So I mean, Rob, when you mentioned that, this generation now is like they don't want to work. Do you think, the Gen Xers said the same thing about us when we were in our 20s? Like,
every generation is like, they're lazy. Like I had in my day. Blah,
my
blah,
music's better than that
it's
shit.
always.
Well, I mean,
the old meaning
music
new.
is not I mean, you can't take that for what it. But
I'm just saying in general because they always say that their music's better. Now we're in that classification now. We're talking about.
I mean, but I mean, like so there's there's a dividing line, right? And not everybody recognizes this dividing line, and it's there's actually two dividing lines when you really think about like modern society. There's the line of kids that grew up as elementary school and junior high kids pre-internet, but got to be able to see the growth of the internet and the implementation of it, and got to see like the introduction of the iPod and the smartphones and things like that. And, we're at the age where those things were tactile and being able to grow up and learn to use them as they were being invented. That's like the early millennials, what they call a millennial, like basically people born like 1980, 81 and later. Yeah. But like when you look at like, if you look at like people born on the opposite end of that spectrum and compare the two, the work, everything's different. Like they're not the same. And I feel like there's like a sub generation from like 81 to like,
it's like an early millennial, middle millennial, late millennial.
Yeah, because like my brother's technically, my brother's 13 years younger than me, and he's technically a millennial also. Yeah. And we have totally different work ethics. And totally, I mean, not saying that he doesn't work, but like his priorities are different than mine. There's just a lot of different things. You know what I mean? And
House divided.
Gen X, I think it's a lack of understanding. But the thing is like Gen X, like they grew up through a time of dissent and revolution in the 80s, the fall of the Berlin Wall, the destruction of communism, and these are major milestone points that happen. Absolutely. The crisis in the Persian Gulf, all these things happen where our generation, we got to see the fucking internet and like internet porn and like
9/11.
You know what I mean? And that's the other. That's the second dividing line. You can look at our society and divide it by the way that things are pre and post 9/11. You can look at the movies that were made pre 9/11 and the movies that were made post 9/11, and you can see like how the tone of the movies changed.
The attitude overall.
The attitude is totally different. It's not as jovial. There's a lot of different. There's a very big focus on realism and being in the moment and things like that. Like there's a bunch of, I'm sure somebody much smarter than me has written a college paper about pre and post 9/11 and the world pre and post 9/11. You know what I mean? Because the Patriot Act and the Freedom of Information Act, I mean, that changed the world. Like, I mean, there's just so many things that can be written about, like how that happened and what that means for our society in general. But I mean, there's not really that dividing line, for this generation of Gen Z. Like, even though like you want to say like, oh, we had the war in Afghanistan and things like that. I mean, they've had an easy time the last 20 years. I mean, there's no draft. The economy has been good. We had one economic crisis in 2008. But other than that, not really anything other than that, right? Am I forgetting something? Like, I mean, not really any hardship, you know what I mean? And there's I don't know. It's just like not.
I feel like we live in a post-COVID world, though. I'm not saying that's counts as one, but it just feels like it's just different.
Yeah,
and definitely shaking things up in the
and
world.
So that's another thing. Like my dad brought up when I was talking to him about this was, how did COVID affect this? You know what I mean? Being quarantined for a year and people not being able to get those social skills, not being able to,
work from home.
You know what I mean? Not being able to how does that affect, just people and workers in general, where they're just like, you know what? My job was totally service based and I got let go. You know what I mean? And there was the gig economy kind of thing fell apart. And now they're like, you know what? I did this and I make enough money and I'm still just as happy, even though I'm fucking broke living in a van, you know what I mean? Driving around, like that's good enough for me kind of thing. You know what I mean? And like, how does that affect like kids that didn't get to go to pre-K for that formative year, those kids that were born right at the beginning of COVID. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got young children.
Yeah.
I mean, do you see that? I mean,
Yeah,
your
well, I mean,
wife's a school teacher.
Yeah,
I mean, you've
sure.
got to be able
as
to
far
see
as
that.
the kids that were actually in elementary at the time, Landon just started first grade, so it didn't really affect him that much, right? But those kids that were in elementary, it delayed them. I mean, by a year easily. And the fact that they were short on staff because they didn't want to go into work when they opened up back to schools, and then they were doing the Zoom virtual learning, which is not quality learning. I mean, you can only do so much with that. Hell, I was in training this past week on a Zoom call all week, and it's not the same as being in class, hands on. It really isn't. So the fact that when they opened up schools, they did have virtual learning and have in class, education, and even then it wasn't quality because the teacher was doing both. So it delayed them. Simple as that. And it also made employees and employers realize that I can get the same work for them to be working at home, depending on what kind of job field you are in.
Yeah.
And that kind of changed the employee relationship where I have demands now. I'm working at home.
And now you have and I mean, it totally killed the real estate market, the corporate real estate market.
Construction too.
I mean, why build offices when people have got gigabit internet at home and you get just as much productivity out of them at home? Why pay for an office?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. They're not going to do
I mean, there are some companies though that they squashed that. They squashed it was everybody back to the office. Yep. Like there's no reason. Everybody collaborates better in person. And I to an extent I agree with that. But I mean,
listen, if you're able to work at home, make that money at home by all means.
By all means.
Yeah.
Software engineers, I'm pretty sure they don't need to go into an office.
No.
I mean, I'm not a software engineer, so I don't know that for a fact, but I'm assuming.
Yeah, for sure. But
so we're running short on time, so we'll wrap that up. And this is one of those ongoing conversations that I encourage you guys to comment on the video, give us your thoughts and stuff on this. This is something that I'd kind of like to revisit maybe in a year or so and see where it takes us. So anyway, thanks for spending your Friday night with us. We have been Gentlemen No Class. I'm Rob.
I'm Jake.
Paul.
And we will. What did you say?
I'm on the edge.
You're on the edge. Living on the edge.
I'm on the edge of glory. Lady Gaga?
No.
What?
It's
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
No, I mean, not knocking. I didn't know that was a rock song.
Oh, I thought you were changing the outro.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I figured that was coming. I'm gonna piss again.
He just don't want to be here on the outro. That's all.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Can I ask what made you decide to go with this?
It's different.
No, I just didn't like. I thought you were really into synths and stuff, or I don't know.
I don't know. Man.
It sounds
my,
cool.
My
It really
buddy
does.
Joe did this, so
Yeah.
Shout out to JD Lyon check him out on Spotify. This is he's a good friend of mine. He's actually he plays drums for Libby.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
nice.
and he moved to Atlanta though. So I mean, but yeah, big shout out to Joe. This is his original shit. So he's a great producer, great artist and stuff. So
sounds sexy.
I heard this and I wanted something a little bit more upbeat. And this is something heavy, something snappy.
Nice.
But can we still bash Paul during the outro?
Just singing in Spanish.
We can. There's no reason not to.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
Did you like that? You like that needle scratch that I threw?
I did. Like, oh,
I got that program now.
Oh, nice. Oh, so you did that on the fly?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I like it. It wasn't a pre-assembled thing.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
I'm good like that.
Are you? Yeah. Okay. Oh.
All right. Yeah. We'll just fade this shit out.
We'll fade it out. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh. Catch you on the next episode.
Fine. Fuck you.